how much more difficult does it make it to face a quarterback who's only played 80 snaps or so, and what he kind of deals with? Do you have to go back to high school to see his skill set, or what do you have to do?
Yeah, I think we could see his skill set. I think we're at 80 plays this year, and then obviously from the recruiting end of it in high school, whatever, just know what his skill set is, know the things that he does well, but more importantly, they have a great system, and he knows how to implement the system and how to execute within that system. So it's a combination of both. What does he do really well, and then what, by schemes, formationing, issues, what do they create that will give us problems and things that we have to have solutions for.
And then Coach Freeman's talked about, and Howard too, a little bit about not feeling sorry for yourself after losing another piece of this defense. How do you feel like that's made them stronger?
Yeah, just first and foremost, right? We all feel badly for Riley. Riley came back for all the right reasons and just had an immense year on all accounts, right? Just production, leadership, technique, flexibility, his ability to run, his ability to rush the passer, just really improved in all those elements. So number one, you feel badly for the young man, but our mantra all year has been don't flinch, next man up, and so now the torch has been passed to the next guy who's got to step up, and we don't anticipate any changes in our structure or how we call things.
Al, have you ever lost this many guys on defense?
Never.
And let alone on a team that's performed so well?
Never. Nope. It's a credit to guys rising to the challenge. But more importantly, it's the habits that a lot of guys have built over time, that when the opportunity availed itself, they were ready to step into that limelight or spotlight, if you will, and execute at a high level. So we expect no different here in the next week.
We asked you about Gunnar, but curious on your take on Riley Leonard from your perspective of seeing him on the defensive side when you guys are in practice, and what he's provided this team and how much he's grown as a leader.
Yeah.
And how much of a challenge he creates for defenses with his skill set.
He's a great challenge. He can, first of all, if you don't keep him in the pocket, he can create, but it's not as simple as that, because he can throw the ball really well down the field as well. And he has some guys down the field that can make plays. So it's not as simple as, just keep him in the pocket. But that's not it. He's got a plan B all the time. So again, if you're dropping more into coverage, he's going to beat you with his legs. If you pressure and miss, he's either going to convert down the field with a throw or convert with his legs. So and then obviously the added dimension of just having to get an extra hat, to the play at all times is not easy to do in college football. It's not hard. The math doesn't work. So there's a lot of plays where you're short a hat because he can carry the ball.
Coach, kind of building off what he asked about Georgia, their quarterback, and what did you see in that SEC championship game? The back quarterback.
Oh, just the way the guys rallied around him, and again, he's got moxie. I want to say one of his first or second plays wasn't a great play, and then he just settled in, and you could tell he knows how to run the system, and I think that's the most important thing. So the system, I think, is a great system that they have. A lot of personnel matchups. They have tremendous backs. I'm sure they're telling him, just be a great distributor. They got excellent wideouts. 3 or 4 deep at tight end. 3 deep at running back, and all 3 of them present a different challenge. So offensive line is strong, probably the biggest we've seen. So there's ample talent around him, and I'm sure they're just telling him he doesn't have to do it all himself.
And being able to play in the SEC team that was back-to-back champions just a few years ago, I guess, what's the mindset on facing a team like this? Is this just another great football team, or what's the outlook?
Well, I think for us, we're just focused on what we can control today. In our Monday practice, we'll leave all the outside noise for everybody else. At the end of the day, they've made the journey that we're trying to make. They've made that climb, and if there's any side note, that would be it. That we have to learn how to do this, how to go into these environments, and execute at a really high level, regardless of the circumstance, and regardless of this case of who we're playing. So it's always going to be about us, and and how we execute and how we prepare, and that will be no different here this week.
You talked about the passing game. What have you seen specifically from Lawson Lucky and Dominic Lovett?
Yeah, again, I mean, just really guys that can change the game. I think that's the challenge. You know, it's a difficult out. You know, you can't put all the focus on the wideouts or put all the focus on stopping the tight ends because then the back will beat you. You know, if you try to take the back away, the tight end or wideout will beat you. So it's a great structure that they have. They do a really, really good job of personnel and formation accordingly, and so that will be our challenge here.
Where's Mitch's confidence level this week after having a big game last week?
Yeah, I think it's high. You know, it was good to see him go out there and perform, and still left a field goal out there on the table. But in general, I think it was a big confidence booster for him, for the unit itself, and now feel like okay, we got to really be ready to perform when called upon every single rep.
And then kicking in a dome, are there any underlying challenges for a field goal kicker or a punter, or is it kind of a wash with or no wind?
Unless there's no wind or it's not leaking, I think it's pretty good. So no, we're excited about the lack of elements for this game, and again a warm environment that always is appealing to the kickers and punters especially. So we're expecting to get down there and have those guys really do what they do.
Marcus mentioned the block kicks have been something different each time. How much does that drive you crazy as a special teams coach when it's not the same thing, and it's kind of, I imagine it's got to be hard to fix when it's something different every time.
Yeah, that's been the part. Is it's been sometimes on the protection, sometimes it's been on the actual kick. In this case, it was just a lower kick. Mitch kind of got hit the ground a little bit before, and so what it's allowed us to do is really go back and say we have to be extremely detailed to make sure that we can minimize any issue. So whether it's making sure we get the ball up, with good height, making sure there's no leakage in gaps so that we can't have any of those issues. And, we studying the game plan, knowing where we think, Georgia's gonna attack, because they've done a good job in years past, blocking kicks. So, just understanding the whole phase and how it's going to pertain to making sure we can be productive.
And were you able to enjoy Christmas, or did you find your mind wandering to potential trick plays you want to draw up for coming games?
Yeah, I talked to Santa, and it was in good shape. He said as long as I had left the milk and cookies out, that there could be something good. So. No, I mean we're always feeling like we have a good plan for every single game, and so then it's just finding the right opportunity.
How special is it to just continue to coach this team now going to the Sugar Bowl in a position where a lot of teams would love to be in this position, just like you?
Yeah, I think it's great. It allows us to remind us that we have to stay in the moment, but also enjoy it. Coach Free talks a lot to the guys about, hey, this is a journey, and what's the point if you're not going to enjoy the journey? Don't be thinking ahead. Stay and enjoy it. So it's really exciting. It's exciting to get down there. It was great. It's anytime you can practice as a team on Christmas, you're excited, and it was a great spirited last couple of days.
Howard, you always talk about kind of like not feeling sorry for yourself. Like how, with now losing Riley, how has that kind of added and made this team stronger? And this defensive line too. It's
the next man up mentality. I mean, obviously Riley was one of our best players, and seeing him go down as good of a friend as he's been to everybody and a leader to everybody, it's hard to watch. But we just got to keep moving. Riley was a big part of our defense, but we train the fact that God forbid anybody goes down, you have to be ready for whoever's next. So we have faith in the next guy, and the next guys up, or next guy up, at any position. So yeah.
What have you seen from Gabe and Donovan that you feel like they've obviously proven that they can make plays, but what do you feel like gets them ready for this stage?
Just keeping the mentality. I mean, I've said it all week. Anytime I've spoken to any foreign media, is just keeping the mentality of this is just any other game. We're not going into this like, oh, we're playing Georgia, like we're in the playoffs, like this is just a match. Like no, like prepare the same way, go into the game the same way. Like we're not expecting anything more or less than what we usually do every single Saturday. We're going into this like we're about to play a ball game, and it's going to be a good game, and we're all excited, and we're just ready for the challenge.
Howard, they've had some different offensive line rotations this year. I guess what kind of stands out about them on the O-line?
I mean, it's an SEC team, so bigger dudes, strength, talent-wise, all up there. I mean, from what I've seen, they've one of, if not the best interiors in the nation. So I'm excited for that personally, and I'm sure the guys next to me are too. Just to test my skills and to see how I measure against some of the top people in the country. So.
And then without class, is that beneficial to you guys, where you can just have a singular focus?
Yeah, for sure. Not having class or writing 3 papers or doing stuff while also getting ready for a playoff game is very much helpful. So, yeah.
Now, what's something that you take away from that game against Indiana, and how do you move it over to this game against Georgia as far as the production, the preparation, anything of that nature?
It just kind of proved to me, the only thing that it proved outside of really anything else is that we're locked in and ready to go for this next leg of the season. Again, I know I'm sound like a broken record here, but we want to make sure that we're not doing anything more than or less than we would usually do. It's just every other game. So, but the mentality of it is like, hey, we're here for the big games. So,
as a veteran, I know we acted this before, but as a veteran, how do you get these younger guys to say, hey, this is just another game, and stay in the right mindset? Guys like Rice, Logan, whatever.
I think because it's not me. I mean, Coach Freeman and all the coaches are preaching it. Like we're going to come off the ball the same. We're going to be using our hands the same. The technique's going to be the same. Obviously, the game plan's depending on week from week, but it's said throughout the entire program that this is just like any other game we play. Same intensity, same focus, same everything. Practice needs to be perfect. We just need to keep moving.
And you haven't had a ton of film, but on Gunner, what are your takeaways from his what you say for the movie?
Sorry, what did you say?
On the quarterback, what are your expectations? What are your takeaways in the short amount of film that you have on him?
I mean, again, it's an SEC school, so they recruit some of the best guys coming out of high school. So even though this guy hasn't had a lot of playing time, I'm sure he's going to be a ball player. So we're looking at everything we can to make sure we try and shut him down any way we can, but we're expecting him to be a ball player.
What are your thoughts on I want to ask you about your quarterback, Riley Leonard, and what he's done for this team as a whole. But facing him in practice, how much have you seen what he can do and that running ability? How much of a problem does that create when you're facing a quarterback like that?
From a defensive line perspective, and somebody who played against him last year, it's a massive problem. You don't you don't really rush the same. You kind of cover bases that you really wouldn't cover before if you're playing a running quarterback, along with somebody who can pass. And Riley can do both of those things, thank God. But I'm proud of him. He stepped up this year. Because I remember just obviously last year, but we make jokes about it all the time. But I'm really proud of the progress he's made, and he's one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. So I'm proud of him.
Leonard, as a true freshman, has it kind of hit you yet that you're starting on a playoff team?
Yeah, it's honestly kind of crazy. I definitely wouldn't have expected to be in this position at the beginning of the season, but I'm blessed to be here, thankfully.
And then what's kind of allowed you to handle those big moments throughout the year?
I feel like just always keeping a level head and keeping my composure allows me to handle big moments, and just being a mature individual in general and knowing my assignment helps me take care of that.
How special is it to be playing in the Sugar Bowl in the time, a lot of college football playoff, or a lot of college football teams would love to be in your position right now?
Yeah, it's honestly crazy, and obviously just the work we've put in throughout the season, it's definitely paid off to get to this position we're at now, and we're just excited to be here, and we're obviously trying to win a national championship.
How has Benjamin Morrison sort of helped you out from the side of trying to get you ready, being that he was kind of in the same shoes that you are now?
Yeah, he's obviously helped me a lot throughout the season, and even since he got hurt, which has been huge for me. And just we've been roommates the entire season too as well before the game. So we talked through a lot of things, talked about the receivers, talked about the team we're playing, and that helps me prepare for each game.
When you look back at the IU game, what did you learn from that game, and how has it prepared you for this upcoming game?
I feel like I've learned, in the playoffs, teams are definitely going to attack, obviously, corners on the outside, especially in the defense we're in, which we've known all season. But obviously going into this game, I just know that I got to be prepared. I got to be able to deny my man.
Do you feel like you also getting that attention because you are a freshman and people feel like they see what he's capable of out there? Or, what is your perspective on that?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like teams obviously would want to target a freshman DB, see if he's composed and poised. I feel like, yeah.
Drayk, you guys have played physical football all year. How do you guys kind of ramp that up another level for next week?
Yeah, it's just kind of knowing what we got to do, executing our assignments, and Coach Gordon always talks about it, playing with our cleats in the ground, and I feel like that's been the biggest part of the last couple of games we've been on, and it's just playing with our cleats in the ground, knowing what we're doing, keeping it simple, and just understanding what the offense is trying to hit us with. And then along those lines, you sniffed out that screen against Indiana. Was that something that you had prepared for, or did you see a key that kind of allowed you to do that? Yeah, we prepared for screens, but he was just kind of floating up the middle, and he didn't really run. So, it was open for him to run, and he didn't. So that's when I was kind of like, what was going through my head, and then I just saw him burst out, and I saw the lineman run with him, and that's when I knew it was just a screen. And so, it was just a little different timing from him that they hadn't really showed, and so that's just really all I saw.
Every unit on this defense has suffered injuries this year. What's allowed this group as a whole to stay together, continue to play at the level it has? Yeah, I think it's just, trusting everyone around you. You trust the guys behind you, the guys in front of you. The whole defense as a unit we've really grown and trusted each other in everything we've done. And so, and I think another thing is just having older guys that are teaching younger guys behind them. Everybody knows really what they need to do, what they're supposed to be doing on each and every play. And so I think that's the way we've really stayed together and been able to work through the injuries and keep this road going. How big of a blow is losing a guy like Riley Mills? Yeah, you can't really replace him, like a leadership, on the defensive line. As a captain, he's one of the biggest parts of our defense. But for me, it's just like I like to think of the next man up mentality, and so I know Riley's got the D-line room ready for when he's not here. Even like if he was preparing him for next year, and then he gets hurt, and now next year's come a little quicker for some people, and so he was out here yesterday coaching everybody up, making sure everybody knew what they were supposed to be doing, and I think that's just who he is as a person. He was making sure everybody was ready, and so when he goes down, the next man's ready to go. And then they've got a next man in at quarterback. What are your early thoughts on, not too much film on Gunnar Stock? He's obviously a good quarterback. If he's going to be the backup quarterback at Georgia, now he's a starting quarterback. Kirby Smart's obviously knows he's ready, and the quarterback coach is going to know he's ready. And so, he looked good in the Texas game when we watched him. It's hard to tell based on little film there is of him, but obviously maybe a little bit more of a runner. But that's just the hard part, is kind of figuring out what he's going to do well in the game and making adjustments.
Georgia enters this matchup fully healthy on the offensive line. How do you plan to handle, Georgia's just successful running backs this season? Yeah, they're really good. They make space and make people miss in space, make people miss in the hole. They're really good running backs. They're fast, and so I think it's just making sure that we do everything we can out on our practices to make sure that we're not missing tackles in the holes, we're not missing tackles in space, and Coach Free's done a great job of getting everyone ready for those chances when they're going to come in the game, because you're going to have to make a play in space, and so we're getting ready for that, and it's hard to replicate how good of a running backs they have, a line they have, and so it's just try and figure out as best you can out on the field, and then when you get the opportunities in practice to make open field tackles, you have to make them.
Drayk, I know you could have gone just about anywhere, but is this one of the reasons that you come to Notre Dame for these type of games, these type of opportunities?
Yeah, this is really what I came for. The playoff system wasn't here yet when I committed here, but I thought Notre Dame was on the up and come up, and I'm excited about where we're at as a program right now. Especially we're in the playoff second round. We got to face Georgia, who ever since I was growing up was always in the SEC championship and national championship contender, and so it's exciting to be able to play in these type of games.
And what do you hear from the veterans, Howard Ross, Jack Kaiser, these guys on the defensive side of the ball or offensive side? What do you hear from them about the preparation, about the mindset for this game?
Yeah, it's they talk about just not doing too much. stick with what's gotten you here. You know, you don't got to do too much, don't do too little, but just stay consistent in what you've done through all season. You know, the other thing they talk about, like Jack's been in big games before, and he's just talking about don't make the moment bigger than it is. You know, we've had after our loss to NIU, it's kind of been on a stretch here where we've had to win, and you know, it's just not making the moment bigger than it is, and that's just what, you know, we're trying to do.
Obviously, when you decide to come back, you want to come back to improve your game, but I imagine games like this are also why you wanted to come back to be a part of this. So now that we're just about there, what's this like for you as a leader and a captain to be able to lead this team into a game like this?
Yeah, it's just an exciting opportunity, like you said. It's just a big time game, playing in New Orleans, a playoff football game against a really good opponent. So it's just an exciting opportunity for this team. You know, all the hard work we put in, since January. So it's just a really exciting time.
What do you see from Gunnar Stockton? Obviously, not too much film on him, but what makes him a challenge?
Yeah, I think his ability to run. Like I said, there's not a lot of film on him, but what we've seen so far is, he's dangerous with his legs. So, have to be prepared to get ready for him to run around a little bit.
How do you get your defense to kind of raise its level of play as you keep going further?
Yeah, just reiterate kind of just what we've done all season and continuing to want to improve. We have so much more still, to get better at, and, each week, and just one more opportunity guaranteed to, go display how much better we've gotten in this time. So it's just exciting just kind of to see how much, better we can get and what we can display on Wednesday. And
then a little random, but is there anything that you do away from football to kind of relax or just get away from football?
Yeah, I definitely like to just sit in my room and just listen to music, just turn up music a little bit. Kind of like just watching videos on YouTube. I like watching like house videos of like brand new buildings of houses and stuff like that. I like watching like different car videos. I like watching food reviewers eat food. So those are kind of my things, just to get my mind off football.
X, not to put the cart before the horse, but could this game potentially, depending on the outcome, allow the rest of the world, the rest of the country, just to see where Notre Dame has come, regardless of the shortcomings in the past and these type of big games?
Definitely. Kind of just, I think one time Pete kind of just mentioned, a lot of people either like Notre Dame or hate Notre Dame. So I kind of just think this game kind of just gives us respect in terms of, they've won national championship, like 2 years ago or so. They've been a big time program for a while. So kind of just getting that respect if, we come out with a victory, just, gives us respect basically.
We've asked you about the defense still playing at a high level after injury after injury after injury, and obviously you guys have another big one with Riley going down. But what's allowed you guys as a whole to continue to play at such a high level despite losing so many pieces?
Yeah, I think it's just our program, just the culture we have. It just starts with the training we do. The training we have, it just gets everybody ready, whether you're called on or not. So just the training has allowed us to, a lot of guys to step up and be ready to get on the field, be ready physically. And then obviously mentally with all the walkthroughs we've done and just the film study and our coaching, everybody gets. So just both of those aspects have just been great for, getting guys ready.
Let's do one more. We got one more.
Does your preparation change at all with the more time without class during this stretch?
Definitely. Like you said, there's so much more time, so you need to take advantage of it. A lot more film study, a lot more recovery for the body. So there's just so much time. You can't just waste it because you don't have class or anything like that. So just take advantage of it for sure.